Everybody, it's John McCracken again, the lone biker. You join me here on a kind of grey and muggy day, but let's see if I can brighten things up with another adventure. Let's go. So here I am in front of the Dean Castle in Dean Castle Country Park in Kilmarnock, and although I'm taking you in an adventure into Whitelee today, I'm starting here because I want to show you a bit of unseen Whitelee, and part of that is getting in and out the one farm without having to go to the visitor centre. So there's so many different options and so many different things you can see or find on the way there. So first of all, the Dean Castle. It's worth coming back here just for a walk around. It's got a nice wee cafe as well. This is where my local park run would be whenever I'm doing a park run. When I'm off the bike, it's not often. But the Dean Castle is nice. There's a visitor centre in there and lots of beautiful walks in and around the forest that's in the country park. There's also a nice kind of wildlife park up here as well with adventure playgrounds and stuff. But anyway, let's go on with our journey. That's the Dean Castle done. Let's see what we see next on our way to Whitelee. So this is a wee gravel path coming out of the Dean estate, and it's a personal favourite of mine for, you might think, silly reasons, but I grew up on an estate in Kilmarnock called New Farm, which is on the edge of the estate. And used to play in here in the woods in this area. I used to come in my BMX and my rally striker and pretend that I was in a speeder bike in Return of the Jedi. So I still love this bit. And it brings you out here at Aslos Cottage and Aslos Hill. Loads of good gravel paths. Lots of walkers on them though, so not exactly something you can speed around. But this is us leaving the Dean estate and heading towards our next destination before we get to Whitelee. So we've left the Dean estate. There is actually another estate next to it, and that estate is Crawfordland, and you can actually get to it very easily on the bike if you're coming out the back of the Dean estate. There is this route, kind of half gravel, half road. People live up here, so there are cars, and we're about to cross over the A77 for the first time today, because we'll have to come back, and we'll cross over it and we will be in Crawfordland estate, and it has a castle too, Crawfordland Castle. I'm led to believe in some shape or form that whoever resides in Crawfordland Castle, the family are still there, have a role to play whenever a king or queen of the United Kingdom is coronated. Whether that's still the case or no, I don't know, but I did hear that once. And when we come up to here, you've got two options, left or right, and today I'm going to go right. This one has a sign that says Castle View Trail. That's what we're going to follow. If you went left there, it's a wider road, takes you into exactly the same place. I'm just going to go this one today, just so I can show you Crawfordland Castle. So I'll check back in with you when we're on the trail of the Castle View, and it is actually in view. We are on the Castle View Trail. Just be careful for walkers in this trail. but it's quite good fun. There we go, there's Crawfordland Castle there. That's as close as you want to get because people still live in it. I imagine it's got quite a heating bill. That other road that we could have taken brings you out here, so you'd end up in the same point. And now we're just about the last section of Crawfordland, and into the right and left they've actually got a kind of, you'll maybe see the bridge up above me, they've got a kind of tree climbing activity centre here. Used to be a mountain bike trail here, not very much in existence anymore and very mucky. Anyway, Crawfordland nearly finished. Now we're going to head off round the back of Fenwick. So we're just outside the back of Fenwick. We're not going into Fenwick. And a lot of people would take the route from Fenwick up the old A77 towards the visitor centre, but we're skirting round the back today and we're heading to a tiny wee hamlet called Waterside. I don't know if it's a wee bit macabre or not, but maybe not. Outside the back of Fenwick, you'll see this sign up here. It says Woodland Burial Ground, and it's actually where people can choose to have a natural burial, and you're buried in natural settings, I think in a wicker basket, and then a tree is planted in the spot where you're buried, and nature takes its course. I actually quite like that idea. I think it's quite nice that whatever your body was continues and supplements the growth of new life, which is quite nice in a way. Anyway, back to our adventure. So we're in the wee tiny hamlet, no shops, no schools, no nothing, of Waterside, and we're just coming up to a junction with the A719 to Galston, which is the road that's a popular with road cyclists, especially those coming down from Glasgow, when you leave the old A77. And you'll see up there a blue sign that says Lochgoyne Covenanter Trail and Museum. Well, we're kind of following that today as well, because we will talk about the Covenanters a wee bit further. But we come in to Waterside and head south. Right, so we're through Waterside, and this tiny wee left turn in here is where we're going to head today. Like a lot of my routes, you've got to trust me, because it has the old dead end sign. Now, if you're on a gravel bike, this isn't a dead end, and it's actually a beautiful wee road with some really nice tarmac. Anyway, I'll catch up with you when we see more of those blue signs. You can see the blue sign coming up. It's asking us to take a left, and that's exactly what we're going to do. These blue signs are fairly new, part of a kind of Covenanters trail, so we'll talk more about in a wee bit. But you can go straight on and into the wind farm, but we're going to be coming out there later. So we are back on gravel off the tarmac. Get my bills in the right place. A wee bit of a climb, and there's some interesting stuff when we get to the top of this climb and through a wee farm, and I'll tell you about it some more when we get there. You will come to this bit when you come through a farm, Airtnock farm. But don't worry, you haven't taken a wrong turn. Just be respectful and close the gates. Restop here. This is Craigandunton River behind me, and in this banking somewhere, I'm not sure where, and I'm not going to look today, but there is a YouTube video about it. I'll try and put a link up. But there is a cave apparently in here where the Covenanters used to hide. Now, not an expert on them at all. A brief synopsis of the Covenanters. The Presbyterian Church in Scotland were annoyed at a Stuart king in the 17th century, kind of messing with the divinity of the Lord. He wanted the king to be above all, and the Presbyterians still wanted the Lord to be above all. Anyway, the Covenanters had a cave that they had in here when they were obviously being chased by people loyal to the Stuart king. Anyway, it's a nice wee burn. This is a nice day. There's another Covenanters monument we're going to visit today as well. But next I'm going to take you to another castle. It's a more modern castle, and it is quite surprising. So let's go. This rough path, we've had to come through a farm to get here. We're about, I'd say about 4 or 5 miles from the main road, and you come across this driveway. A sign that says Craigandunton, and this is the area of Craigandunton. And I remember the first time I came up this road being rather stunned by what I saw. And there are many stories about this house which I'm not going to repeat in case of some sort of false information or libel. But you come through this double track, not unusual in the wind farm, to find this massive mansion that I think was built in the 90s, just sitting here in the middle of nowhere in amongst this pine forest. An odd place to find this. Now, I'm never actually sure if anybody still lives in this, but it is incredible. I don't like going too close in case somebody does actually live in it, but it never looks lived in. But there you go. Very odd. And just up there you'll see there's a kind of wall with the columns. That's actually a tennis court in there, obviously in disrepair. But yes, very odd. Always gives me the impression that somebody with a lot of money but that didn't want to be found built a house up in here. I'll say I'll lift up so you can see further in. So there's the net for the tennis court. And when we come round here, at the back, that building out the back is actually a swimming pool. Isn't that odd? First time I came across that, it was just really strange. It's a strange place for such a nice house. I kind of want to win Euro Millions or something and do it up, and then I can become somebody that's got loads of money and doesn't want to be found. I'd have great access to the wind farm, which would be excellent. But yeah, very strange, and you have to actually see it to believe it. Now the blue signs here say you can go that way, and that is the normal way into the wind farm. I want to go up this way today and take you up to the reservoir. Now the blue signs, we are actually going to still be on the Covenanter Trail for a wee bit. But we're going to go up this way, and I think to save this being an in and out and a dead end, because nobody likes that, there is a kind of walking path at the top of a reservoir up here. This is Craigandunton Reservoir we're coming to. And if we hike a bike just a little bit, we might be able to get back onto some windmill roads. Just let a car back. Without having to come in and out this dead end. I have done it before in my mountain bike, I'll just have to remember where to go. A bit like my Weaver's Trail video, you'll just have to imagine there's a path at some point. But that car will be up here because Kilmarnock Fishing Club actually use this reservoir. I think there's trout put in here. And also, this reservoir is used for drinking water for Kilmarnock. Going along this path here, hopefully, and I'm going to get to that windmill right there. It's one of those bits in the wind farm where you can see lots of windmills, but getting to them is a different story. A wee bit of hike bike, but actually since I last did this the path is more discernible. Actually I could actually cycle this. There is a wee wall you've got to lift the bike over and a fence, but you know what, this is entirely doable. So bonus, right, on we go. So, back in most familiar territory here, because down to the left of me here you'll see, excuse me while I shut the gate, you'll see the road that comes in. If you're coming up from Fenwick or Kilmarnock, it's the first entrance before you go up to the wind farm, which is over there. You can park at the end of this and come along either the wee tarmac road or the gravel road here that takes you into one of the Scottish power stations. We're going to go up this wee road here because you'll see in the distance, actually not too far in the distance, a wee monument, and you'll see this sign here with the letter C, and that's again because we've got more Covenanters information up ahead. So here is a monument. If you've probably been in the wind farm, you probably have seen it. And it's got lots of clan names on it. It says, in memory of John Howie, author of the Scots Worthies, born 1735, died 1793. So obviously, and there's names on here on Merville, Cargill, Cameron, Renwick, Knox, etc. So it's obviously a writer of repute about the Covenanters. In fact, here's a wee plaque here. Lochgoyne and Fenwick Covenanters Trust. The trustees have pleasure in expressing here their gratitude to Community Industry Kilmarnock and to the young men they employed for their excellent work in restoring this monument and in resurfacing the access path to it in January to May 1983. So it's been here well before the wind farm. So worth a wee look. Farm over here, and you maybe can see the big writing says Lochgoyne Covenanters Museum, and there is a museum in there you can go and visit. I have actually never visited it, and I'm not going to go today. I'll leave that to you. You can go and explore that. I'm just about opening up these opportunities to you. So we're going to go back and follow this blue sign. I actually goes through a field which does have lambs in it, so it's best to stick right into the right hand side on the path, don't go into the field. Okay, onward to our next part of Whitelee Uncovered. We could take you to Carrot Hill and Carrot Farm and the Weaver's Trail, but I've done that in another video. So I'll put a link to that in today's video and you can check that out too. But we're off somewhere else that has kind of been covered, not exclusively by me, but I was there. Anyway, let's go. Taking a wee turn off one of the main roads through the wind farm into what's known as the Drumduff Estate, as I'm heading over to the south side of the wind farm to show you something interesting. Just at this wee trig point, just off the Spine Road. I'll film me going back down so you'll maybe be able to see it, and obviously you can check my route. But cracking views here. That's the Drumduff Estate that we just came over. And there's like another main road skirts those trees over there. Eaglesham Moor over this direction. Down there's Eaglesham. And there's East Kilbride over there. Great views. Right, back to our adventure. Course Hill. I knew it had a name. I saw the sign there, and there is a sign will take you up there. Course Hill. It's not the biggest of hills, but there you go. So here we are at this grid reference post, and it's telling you that Alderstocks is 1 kilometre that way. That's an alternative in or out of the wind farm that I have taken, and I might bring you on another adventure one day. It actually takes you through a farm. It's one of those situations where you think, should I be here or not, but you can bypass the farm. It's quite a nice wee double track down to the farm there. But Alderstocks is going to be important in a wee minute. We are though, behind me, if you go back that way, that'll take you to the Ardach Rig entrance. But we're going this way to something that still remains a bit of a mystery to me anyway. And I did visit with that cycling chimp at Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year, on a bitterly cold day, but beautiful. So if you've seen that video, you might have seen where I'm taking you before, but we've already had a mystery mansion. Now we're going to a mystery monument. So come on, I'll take you there. So we're in a kind of far-flung corner of the wind farm. And if you're cycling along here, if you got to this bit, if you knew that this wee bit existed, I doubt you would ever see it. The only sign you will see is this metal fence up here. Let me just put the bike down. And let's go for a wee walk. And you see this old metal fence. You would never see this from the road. And the fact that it's not your normal pine trees here, but you've got sycamores, and you've got a lovely yew tree in here. I always like a yew tree. And hidden in here in the quiet is this mystery monument. Now, is it a monument? Is it a gravestone? Redshift. It says, Euphemia White, in memory of her husband William Smith of Townhead, New Milns, born 31st of August 1823, died the 11th of April 1895. So, what, 72 years old? That's good for the 1800s. The above Euphemia White, born 24th of February 1836, died 19 September 1908. So I don't know if this is a memorial, something in memory, or is it actually a grave? Who knows? But you'll see the trees are different here. The iron fence that's round here has long started to rust, but you would never know this was here unless somebody showed you. And I only found it because a long time ago, as part of the Irvine Valley Walking Festival, there was a mountain bike ride which came up into the wind farm. It was my first foray into the wind farm, and they stopped to show us this, and I would not have known that this existed. Now, I mentioned earlier the sign that said Alderstocks. Since I was last here with the group where Kyle made the film, I did have a wee look online to see if I could find out any information, and it may be that these people lived at Alderstocks Farm, which is literally just a couple of kilometres that way, which would make sense because it says here they're from New Milns and Townhead. Now, New Milns is probably, I don't know, between, 6 to 10 miles away. Now, we are in the middle of nowhere here, even with the wind farm providing roads. So in the 1800s, this would really have been the middle of nowhere. In fact, it probably would have been quite middle of nowhere, even from Alderstocks Farm over there. But anyway, bit odd there to find this in the middle of nowhere. And you'll see it because of the fence, and look out for the yew tree. I do like a yew tree. Another adventure one time, if you're up near Aberfeldy, the oldest living thing in Europe is there, and it is actually a yew tree. I'm kind of getting off topic again. And it's also near a town called, I can't remember, is the town in Scotland called Dull, and it's twinned with a town in America called Boring, or it's the other way around. But I have been there, and it's the oldest living thing in Europe. I don't think this is as old, but it's worth a visit. So there's Euphemia and William. Pay them a visit sometime. Anyway, let's get back on the road. Looking at my route today, you will notice that I went down a dead end at one point. It was just a wee bit of an exploration because it was one of the few roads I've never been down. Anyway, let's keep going. We're on our way back out of the wind farm, and this is one of the 2 or 3 abandoned farmhouses you'll find in the wind farm. Now, I'm not sure if it was abandoned before the wind farm came into existence, or because the wind farm came into existence. There are a couple others that I can't show you anymore because they've since been knocked down, but this one I like because it's got a wee bit of stunt riding. Let me see if I can do it. Whee! I usually do this because down there's a great big puddle normally. And back down. So as we pass this farm, this is actually popular with dog walkers because we're not far from the tarmac on this double track, and you can actually do a wee loop. And just at the brow of my hill here, I'll just stop and show you something as well. Now, you'll notice over there, it's what looks like remnants of an old adventure playground. Now, there was tubing and stuff. I noticed there's some sitting up there, and it almost looked like one of those kind of dog runs that you get at Crufts where they go underneath things and through tunnels and stuff. So I don't know whether at some point this has been some sort of dog training place. There's obviously never been a tarmac road in and out here. And there's the farm there. So obviously another wee bit of a mystery, but this is a nice route in or out the wind farm. But we're going to head back onto the tarmac and I'll speak to you a bit when we get there. And here we are out of the wind farm and back onto tarmac. And this is the tarmac we turned left off of to go up towards the Covenanter's grave and Craig and Dunton in the Mystery Mansion. And so now this leads us all the way back to Waterside and we'll pass our turning on the way back. So enjoy! Now here we are, back on the main road, back at Waterside. That's a nice wee road. It's especially fun if you've got the wind at your tail. So we're back in Crawfordland Estate. We've come back through that back of Fenwick, and if I go left here it would take me back in the Castle View Trail, but I'm going to go right here and take you on the alternate route in and out of Crawfordland, which used to be in their old mountain bike trails, which you can't really find. This is more of a gravel trail that you'll probably enjoy. More classic gravel, I think we would say. It's just a nice way of linking Kilmarnock to the wind farm without having to go on road, because although a gravel bike's perfect for getting us in the road to gravel quite quickly, the quicker you can get in gravel the better. And I know an awful lot of people I know that live in Kilmarnock in particular had said, is there a way into the wind farm where I don't need to go up the A77 on road? So here is your guide, and you can see it's a cracking wee road for the gravel bike. There's a big storm in the winter, blew a lot of trees over this section of road, so I have been using the Castle View path just because I had to get around some trees. I'd prefer to come this way a lot of the time because there's a lot of walkers in the Castle View path, as you saw, and it tends to be quite narrow. So if you want to properly cycle, this is probably the best route. That's where we turned in earlier, so we're back on the road we were on before, and as I said earlier, we're going to cross back over the A77 again and we'll be back on the edge of the Dean Castle Country Park. Well, we're back at the car, and I hope you enjoyed that wee trip through undiscovered Whitelee and maybe everything in between the Dean Park and Crawfordland. It's quite interesting the amount of things that are hidden in Whitelee because it is so big. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and remember, just before you go, please, 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 if you enjoyed the channel, please like and subscribe, especially subscribe. It helps me keep doing this, it gives me the motivation to keep doing it because it seems that some of you are really enjoying it. So like and subscribe if you can, and you can follow me on Instagram at the Lone Biker too. So cheers.